We're here to fix the machine.
Battlefield Live. You're listening to the Battlefield Live with Chris and Trey from We Are America Radio, Red State Talk Radio, Lanterns.buzz, Battlefield.buzz, and Buzz Radio Network. Want to thank you for joining us today. And man, it just keeps getting better and better with the whole Trump thing. In fact, if you're listening live, you go to thedrudgereport.com. There's a poll on the front page, and Trey, I am just blown away. These polls,
I just voted on it. It's funny you said that.
Hey, Sanders has 19.89% of the vote. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. I know you're stunned.
Wait, what's that?
That Sanders has 19.89% of the vote.
Yeah, well, but fortunately, he's still behind Ted Cruz.
Yeah, but think about this. This is on the Drudge Report. This is not on MSNBC. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, and look, these polls are easy to screw over, right? So, is that you? Can you hear me at all?
Yes, I can hear you. I'm looking at you over here, and also at the same time trying to distinguish what it is that you're saying.
So is my voice that bad? I mean, is it breaking up or what?
No, it just sounds in my ear. It sounds like just like a bad cell phone connection. That's all.
Oh, okay. So maybe my internet has been running really slow. Thank you, Cox.com.
Right. I was trying to listen in between comments, trying to listen to see how it's coming across on the live stream on my phone. But anyway. Look, dude, as I'm looking at this, I'm kind of excited. I know National Review was founded by Buckley, and, but I'm looking at the names on this list. I mean, the first name that comes up on this list is Glenn Beck. I'm seeing
Which list are you talking about?
This is the special, National Review just released a special edition called The Case Against Trump.
Okay.
And it lists the editors who make the case against Trump. And you're talking about Bill Kristol, Mark Halperin, Brent Bozell, from, was it MC Media Research Center, MRC. Glenn Beck is the first name on there. I think they did it by, alphabetical order. Yuval Levin, I don't know who that is. Michael Medvedev, Edward Meese III. My boy Thomas Sowell. So I mean, that to me is really good. And even the Washington Post is saying that the establishment is starting to warm to Trump and remain cool toward Cruz. Well, I'm not surprised by that. I mean, is anybody else surprised by that? I mean, people who said, Donald Trump is going to be he's going to be an outsider. No, Donald Trump does what's best for Donald Trump. He has no principles. So, yeah. I mean, I saw somebody posted a really clever meme that showed Ted Cruz back in 2012 saying exactly what he said about the border in 2016. And it's called consistent constitutional conservatism.
Yeah, and look, let's not be naive. I mean, Ted Cruz has flipped on a couple things, right? What is the work visas? He was in favor of adding a lot of work visas, and he came out today and said, he's actually said this before, but I heard him on the radio today where he said that he had changed his mind because it was being abused. And look, there's no surprise that politicians, they find their bearing, and sometimes they. I mean, I had different views. I'm not even going to say that Donald Trump. I mean, he's had different views, and I can't say that his views have not changed. But if my views if I was running for president and my views changed like a year ago, all right, that's a little bit questionable. And when I say changed, Donald Trump's views changed like phenomenally, like on many levels. And
well, look, let's say where he changed from. Every view that Barack Obama currently holds is a view that Donald Trump once held until very recently, but now no longer holds.
Well, explain that, because you just totally lost me. I know I'm a little slow.
Okay, so, for instance, Barack Obama currently thinks that single-payer healthcare works. Donald Trump thinks it works in places like Canada and the UK. Barack Obama thinks we should raise taxes. In some of the places, if you read Trump's tax plan, he has believed in raising taxes. In fact, Trump has even supported the snatching of 401ks in to pay off the he proposed the billionaire tax, where there was an extra tax that we put on the wealthy that at the time, because we weren't $20 trillion in debt, that it would have paid down the national debt. Barack Obama is pro-murder. Pro-choice. And Donald Trump, for the majority of his life, because of his New York... So look, we go through this whole thing. Barack Obama has a proven liberal record. So did Donald Trump not too long ago. Barack Obama said Hillary Clinton did a great job as Secretary of the State. So did Donald Trump not too long ago. Barack Obama's pro-gun control. So was Donald Trump not too long ago. And again, I like you, I'm not saying that people can't pivot, but the closest thing that we can point to that's similar to across the board. And by the way, look, that's just a couple of the issues. We could offers hope and change without any specifics. So does Donald Trump. We're going to make America great. We're going to build a wall. We're going to ban Muslims. I'm going to bring so many jobs back here. I'm going to win. America doesn't win anymore. We're going to win. Our military is going to be strong. It's going to be great. We're going to kick ISIS's ass, and then we're going to take their oil. Like, everything is just is a tweet long, and there's no real substance to how you're going to do that, because that's the populist. Then he wraps himself in nationalism. But look, Barack Obama sat in Jeremiah Wright's church for 20 years. And just a couple of months before he became more or less the big dog in the Democrat Party, he separated himself. The first thing he said was he could no more separate himself than he could stop being black. And everybody said, "Oh, well, you sat there for 20 years, and now because you're running for president, now you disagree with anti-Semitic, anti-Israel, pro-Palestinian liberation theology. So you're saying you don't agree with none of that, and it took you 20 years to get to that point?" Well, Donald Trump is much older than Barack Obama, I believe, and so he's had more time in his life. In his own words, we played it, Chris, where in his own words, he has said that his New York, living on Manhattan, growing up in New York, is why he's okay with gays in the military, okay with gays getting married, why he wouldn't work to ban partial birth abortion, all of these different things. If you've had a change of heart, and I believe in people, I believe in people that they can change. I believe conservatism offers an opportunity for people to go from this fantasy world of life into real life and into the real world. But give me the pivot point, and it can't be that, hey, the Republican field looks pretty weak, and I think I can jump in, say a few things, give a few speeches, and if we ride this thing out, it'll be huge. We'll make America great, and I can put Trump on the outside the White House. And we can, all this other crap that he says, So yeah, make a good enough case, or do
you're making a good case, but I mean, there's people out there and that are in that frame of mind where they see a guy that has this crossover potential, right? The crossover potential. I see you kind of struggling to hear me.
Nobody who likes Trump likes him because they think that Trump can get Democrat voters. Because if these are the same people,
I disagree with you. I disagree with you wholly because I listened to one of our friends on another radio station say tonight that one of the reasons why he likes Trump is because they can bring over this crossover vote.
Wait, hold on. Do you understand that if Donald Trump is forced to wade into the deep end of the pool against Hillary Clinton in a debate, he's going to die. She's going to destroy him.
I don't think she's that good. I think he's got more of a problem with Bernie Sanders.
Listen, it'll just be a screaming match. But even Sanders comes across as genuine. Nobody doubts that Sanders doesn't believe the crap he says.
Look,
no matter how politically outlandish it is.
If Hillary and Trump are on stage and they're debating, it's going to be like a slap fight.
Listen,
it'll be like a slap fight.
He's able, being the person he is, and I'm just looking at Liberty University. If you couldn't go to Liberty University and seem like a Christian, you are not going to be able to stand before in front of a former senator and a former secretary of the state and a first lady and be able to sound presidential next to her. He's going to make faces. He's going to, I mean, it's going to be horrible. So this is why I say I don't understand how people think, because it might be cute for him to like smack down a few idiot Republicans. That looks great, but people are not thinking past their nose.
But I don't think that people desire. I would say that a large portion of the population does not desire a presidential sounding person. As crazy as that sounds, I don't think they want somebody that sounds like a JFK or a Ronald Reagan. They want somebody that sounds like a talk show host.
Well, we may be at that place. I can't.
I mean, that means we have a chance. You realize that we have a chance to become president one day. Well, because we're definitely not presidential. Maybe. You know what I'm saying?
No, maybe. I mean, listen,
I could be up there with my hat backwards. I got my freaking Minions pants on.
Listen, Trump, we did this bit. Trump is not one of us. Okay, we remember he has to comb his hair like us. That's hair? Oh, I thought it was Davy Crockett. Okay, we did that before. We done that bit.
Oh, man.
Do a new bit. Why people say they can relate to him? It's really look. If people are trading principle over power, the opportunity to be in power. What do we know? What do we know from history and from philosophy and from literature? That power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
All right, so look, we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we're going to dig a little bit more into this. Amongst other things, we got to definitely talk about Hillary Clinton's hubby going hang out with porno girls. We'll talk about that when we get back.
Chris, we're going to take it away, and we're going to jump into the south side of Chicago. Now, Chris, if you've been keeping up with our south side of Chicago, you know that it is not a safe place. But, dude, you got to give it up to the ladies. Chris, they are launching sex strikes to end violence.
So sex strike, is that why you're saying I should give it up to the ladies?
No, but that's very clever of you,
okay.
Nonetheless.
I'm just saying.
So this comes out of
all this
Fox
talk about
Channel
Woodrow
5.
Wilson and the Byzantine Empire gets me all worked up. I'm just
So the women of Southside Chicago, they basically have had enough. They're going to say, fellas, you go out there and stop banging. Stop gangbanging.
Wait a second. What kind of gangbang are you talking about?
I thought I was correcting
you did a double entendre there and you didn't even know it.
The difference between banging and gangbanging.
Blank banging.
Yeah.
Go to radio.battlefield.buzz to get showtimes, the latest audio and video podcasts, links to our affiliates and social media sites, and latest announcements from the Battlefield Live radio program. We are here to fix the machine.
Doug, I never thought I could go back to school, but when it's this easy, it fits.
I'm right there with you, Jackie, taking classes, watching lectures in the living room on the iPad. It's not hard.
I can be a mom, make dinner, get my classwork done, and not miss a moment with my family. It's amazing.
Yes, it is.
Hey, it's Jackie Velasquez, and if Doug and I can do this, you can do this too. Higher education with Liberty University Online.
Find out more about completing your college degree at the world's largest Christian university, Liberty University. Get all the details right now. Grab your cell and dial pound 250. When prompted, say the keyword Liberty University.
Training champions for Christ since 1971. Liberty University Online. Find out more about learning online. Dial pound 250, then say the keyword Liberty University.
Liberty University Online with hundreds of degree programs to choose from. Call now, pound 250. Say the keyword Liberty University.
That's pound 250. Say keyword Liberty University.
Will you today, as is your normal tradition of doing radio, will you leave the radio program today ravaged and hungry and go get a foot-long sandwich from Subway?
A $5 foot long?
A $5 foot long.
I'm sure Jared's going to be looking forward to that when he goes to jail.
Wow.
I mean, come on, dude. I mean, that dude's a piece of crap, huh?
I really didn't see that coming. And I guess in jail, neither will he.
Yeah, he won't. I mean, we should just stop this right now.
What? Yeah, that's what he's gonna say. What?
Go to radio.battlefield.buzz to get showtimes, the latest audio and video podcasts, links to our affiliates and social media sites, and latest announcements from the Battlefield Live radio program. We are here to fix the machine.
We're here to fix the machine.
Thank you for sticking with us on the Battlefield Live radio program. We're watching a little bit of intermittence on our stream, so just bear with us. But one of the things I want to mention is make sure you go to lanterns.buzz and battlefield.buzz. Those two websites have a lot of what we think and feel, and we share a lot there. You can also follow us on Twitter at Lanterns Buzz. You can follow me at Paul Revere again, and you can follow Trey at T-Rob Radio. You can also follow me on Facebook. I've actually created a personal page, and it's an author page, at facebook.com/Paul Revere again. You can follow the show at facebook.com/Lanterns Buzz. And you can also, we have a group. It's facebook.com/groups/Lanterns of Liberty. You can actually, it's a private group. You can actually join there. Or you can go to the public group, which is facebook.com/groups/the Battlefield of Ideas. So Trey, we're, talking about Donald Trump and, his rise to fame, and it's really, I think it really boils down to that people are just sick of politicians, and Donald Trump, I mean, for the most part, I think a lot of Americans aren't very savvy on politics. They're not savvy on principle, but they're savvy on what comes on at 8 o'clock on CBS. They've seen the Donald, on television before. He's got name recognition. I mean, if you go around New York City and ask people who was the third president of the United States, I mean, nobody knows who that is. But they know who Donald Trump is. They know who Whoopi Goldberg is. If Whoopi Goldberg was running for president, she'd probably be at 40% too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just, I hear what you're saying about somebody wanting him to sound presidential. I don't necessarily. Here's what I think: when the media kind of gets behind the Democratic nominee, as they always do, and as they start to attack Trump, if he becomes the nominee, I think the public relations war is going to be insurmountable for the Donald, because he is going to be. I mean, any Republican is going to be excoriated, but he's not, if he's the nominee and he starts getting attacked, he's not going to combat the attacks from the media and excuse me, the establishment and the Democrats with conservative, articulate conservative principles. He's going to use kind of some of their tactics.
Absolutely.
And it's just going to kind of be like a snake eating its own tail.
People want the slap down, and this goes back to what was it? What was that Jerry Springer show?
I was getting ready to say, dude, this is Jerry Springer. It's
Jerry Springer politics, and people that are not very educated on politics, they get excited about that, and so it's kind of one of those things. It's the meatball thing, right? We talk about, where Donald Trump is this massive meatball, and inside that massive meatball is a pill that we do not want to swallow. But some people, they just think that, it sounds good. He's hitting all the points. And
look at what Rudolph Giuliani said. He said, if it came down to Trump or Cruz, there is no question I'd vote for Trump.
Really? He said that?
He said, as a party, we'd have a better chance of winning with him. And I think a lot of Republicans look at it this way. So here's what that
really... All right, so why, though?
Here's what that really means.
Okay.
When I hear that, I know that if Cruz gets out there, his message to the American people is going to be one of genuine hope, because it's going to be hope rooted in the truth of America's founding principles. Giuliani does not believe, as many Republicans that we would consider to be establishment Republicans, they don't believe that you can win with a truly conservative message in today's political environment. And what I believe is, I believe that until a conservative gets the chance, and until a conservative makes the case and then wins, all these people, have credibility to their opinion. But if you look at the series of Republican candidates since Reagan, again, I'm not worshiping at the altar of Reagan, but I'm just saying that, like, he was the last conservative that was able to articulate a conservative message. We haven't had a Republican that has been conservative. But when they need to win, or when it's close, what do they always resort to? They always resort to trying to sound more conservative.
So let me ask you this. Is it possible that the American people are, in other words, all right, so we've talked about the Overton window before. Right? All right, so folks, the Overton window is basically, think of it like this, that you have this window, and inside that window, or this pane of glass, is a spectrum of left and right politics. So basically, on the far right of the window pane, there is the most radical side of that. On the left side is the most radical side of the left. And what happens is the more radical the left is, the more that window shifts, because people generally in politics, like Donald Trump and Paul Ryan and McConnell and all these folks, they want to be quote unquote bipartisan. So what they do is they have to compromise with the people that are pushing the left further and further to the left. So what's happening is the whole country is shifting further and further to left politically, because the left has figured out, and I say the left, I'm talking about the far left progressives. The Donald Trump, see where my head was thinking there? The Barack Obamas, the Nancy Pelosi's, the real far left, the Janikowskis, those are the ones that push the extremes. And when a lot of times when they say something politically that's extremely left, you're like, that's out of this world, bat crazy, right? And the bottom line is, the intention is to push the compromise further and further to the left. So my point is, and I want to bring this back to Trump, is the American people so far, that window has shifted so far to the left that we're not going to get a Reagan-esque type conservative, because the people are used to hearing this leftist radical crap, and then you get somebody in there that's really a Democrat, it's really a liberal, that's not radical left, that seems moderate. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, except that right now is not the time that we should be having that conversation and casting that announcement or I mean, look, here's another example.
I'm not saying we need to abandon our principles to accept Donald Trump.
No, but listen, I believe what you just offered is a false paradigm. I believe that we gotta stop saying that the American people won't. The American people won't. I mean, the American people. Look, Ted Cruz has doubled since all this stuff with New York values, and it became gloves off between Trump and Cruz. Cruz has doubled his support in places like New Hampshire. Like here's what Peter King said.
But I think what you're hearing though, what I'm hearing from you is this thought. I'm just generally looking at how the people are reacting to Trump, because he's obviously winning in the polls. I'm not saying that Cruz is not catching him in the polls. The point is that, and we got a break coming up here. The point is that we got a guy that's leading in the polls because he's been really wild and flailing around in this moderate, so-called, I guess, neoconservative type of rhetoric. And I think that it's the George Bush. You know, it's not as refined as a George Bush, if there's anything such as refined George Bush. But George Bush is more of a politician. And look,
yeah, this guy is a national populist.
Yes. All right. So look, we're gonna come back right after this break, and we're gonna dig a little bit more into this, because I think we kind of hit on something here, and it's worth definitely exploring a little more. So stick with us on the Battlefield Live radio program. You're listening to Chris and Trey from We Are America Radio, Red State Talk Radio, and Battlefield Live radio program.
Has some new goals.
The UN? The UN?
Yeah, the UN has some new goals. The 193 member countries adopted 17 Sustainable Development Goals, or SDGs. I think I picked up one of those one time in college as a roadmap to end poverty. I'm trying to spit on your meerkat follower.
Why you wait till I drink to say something funny?
As a roadmap to end poverty and hunger, fight inequality, and conquer climate change over the next 15 years, it's going to require about $3 trillion a year.
That's it?
To enact the SDGs. Now, listen, I can tell you how to get for $5 to pick up an SDG. You know what I'm saying?
Anything you want.
Takes Bang Ki-moon to another level. You know what I'm
Anything you want. YouTube boom boom soul brother.
Mind me not to take you to the Bangkok spa. Alright, so the
hour. You must go home now. Go to radio.battlefield.buzz to get showtimes, the latest audio and video podcasts, links to our affiliates and social media sites, and latest announcements from the Battlefield Live radio program. We are here to fix the machine.
Hi, I'm Sam, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Dr. Larry Arnn on the 3 branches of government.
There's a lot of confusion these days about the relationship of the 3 branches of government, especially among many who are in government. Some think the judiciary sits atop the other 2 branches, the legislative and the executive. Others think the president sits above Congress and the courts. In fact, all 3 branches are equally accountable to the Constitution and therefore to the people who made the Constitution. The President, members of Congress, and federal judges all take an oath to the Constitution. In making the laws, Congress must adhere to the Constitution. In executing the laws, the President must abide by the Constitution. In interpreting the laws, judges are bound by the Constitution. All the people's representatives are accountable to the Constitution, and therein lies our liberty.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
So, Trey, what did you think of Chris Christie last night?
See, I don't think people realize, but when he said take the cameras off of him, what he meant is that it takes 3 cameras shooting him simultaneously for him just to get on the screen.
I don't know if you noticed, but about halfway through the thing, he dunked down and got him a bite of a donut.
No, I did. I saw him duck down, and when he did, like, all of the girth in him, when he went down, it like tripped up the 2 people to his right, like a wave at the beach. They fell backwards and like looked at him, and he was like, "My bad, I had to get this donut."
Dude, did you hear it?
You know, it was almost like a growling sound.
Yes, listen, Lil, right in the very, very beginning. Check this out. Right.
While I'm as entertained as anyone by this personal back and forth.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah,
I heard it.
What was that? That was his stomach. That's why he went down and got him a bite.
Apparently he didn't eat before. Oh, no, wait, no. Actually, he ate just before he went up on stage.
I guess maybe he was having a little digestive issue. Go to radio.battlefield.buzz to get showtimes, the latest audio and video podcast, links to our affiliates and social media sites, and latest announcements from the Battlefield Live radio program. We are here to fix the machine.
We're here to fix the machine.
You're listening to the Battlefield Live radio program from lanterns.buzz, battlefield.buzz, We Are America Radio Network, as well as Red State Talk Radio and Buzz Radio Network. So Trey wants to dig into a little bit more on this. So Trey, explain what you're thinking right now.
Well, no, I just wanted, like, what you're seeing right now happen. And look, Bob Dole came out for Donald Trump. Trent Lott came out for Donald Trump. I told you about just now Giuliani and Peter King. What many are deciding is that Trump, for all his faults, is better. Because for one thing, you got a lot of Republicans in Congress that despise Cruz. Because he's got a history of picking fights that he really couldn't win, but stood on principles anyway.
Right.
And then he has not been ashamed to blame other Republicans when the fights that he's picked have been unsuccessful.
Yeah, he's not a deal maker, if you will.
Yeah, and then beyond that personal hostility that the Republican Party has against Cruz, there's, of course, the political calculation. If Cruz is nominated, these establishment types think that he could alienate swing voters with a brand of scorched earth conservatism. Now, this is always what they say to scare Republican voters and suckering them into going for the moderate. They always say it's about the swing voters, the mushy middle, the moderate voters. You know what? Who cares about those? They're liberals. There is no such thing as the mushy, moderate middle of the If you're not a conservative, you're a liberal. That's a false paradigm.
So let me ask you this. So ideally, there's an ideal conservative, right? And then there's variations of it. Wouldn't you say that some people hold... Well, wouldn't you say that there are people that hold conservative positions? But what you're saying is that it's black and white what conservative is and what conservative is not.
I think that progressivism, which is all liberalism is completely antithetical to conservatism.
I agree with you on that, but you're talking about like a philosophy type of...
So if somebody... My question would be is, how much progressivism can a conservative have before they're no longer considered conservatism?
Right.
And I would say this is why I got a tough time with Marco Rubio. I got a tough time with Marco Rubio.
Is he borderline? Is he borderline conservative?
He's more conservative. He's probably the third most conservative person in the race.
Right, but I'm saying, or do you think he's a conservative?
Say that again, you broke up.
Do you think he's a conservative?
I absolutely think Marco Rubio is a conservative.
Okay.
I don't think he was conservative on the issue of immigration.
Okay, so that's kind of my point.
And he has flip-flopped to where he now holds, but as a conservative, I can't trust him with such a big, important issue like that to hope that he's really more conservative, because his actions showed that when push came to shove, he was willing to compromise conservative beliefs and throw in with some of the uber progressives of the Democratic Party.
So where do you draw the line on whether somebody's conservative or not?
It's issue by issue.
But I know, but I mean, is it like if you got 10 issues and you're at 70% and you're 70% conservative, can you be 30% conservative? I mean, you understand what I'm getting at? I mean, I know maybe we're kind of spinning in the wind here.
It's based upon who is right now. Our choice should not be, and when I say our choice, I'm only speaking for people who are conservative. So if you're listening and you don't consider yourself a conservative, I'm not talking to you. You just get the benefit of listening to what we're saying right now. So conservatives right now should be throwing in and getting behind the most conservative candidate that is available. So that's number one.
Right.
Number two, if your options are, let's say, Ted Cruz, Marco Rubio, Rand Paul, of those three, who would you say is the most conservative?
I would say the most constitutionally conservative would be Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, and then Rubio.
Correct. Now, Trump has, and I'm looking at Conservative Review again because it just is a good, those are the three top conservatives in the race.
So let me ask you a question. Could Rand Paul, who is, I would say arguably as conservative as Ted Cruz, Rand Paul is who I'm talking about. Could Rand Paul beat Hillary Clinton?
Could Rand Paul beat Bill Clinton?
Hillary Clinton.
Could Rand Paul beat
Hillary Clinton?
Hands down. Look,
I'm talking about an election, not a debate.
Hillary is beatable, except if you get a complete tool and someone who is not up on government like Donald Trump. Look, the guy acts like a child. I mean, who gets up there and makes those faces? And look, I try not to even look at the debates. I try to just listen. But then when I see debate highlights or I actually watch, I'm like, what grown person acts like that? Surely not a president. I mean, it's beyond frustration. But here's the thing. If Peter King said it this, he said Cruz isn't a good guy and he'd be impossible as president. They think that Trump is pragmatic enough to get something done. Their agenda, the establishment is beginning to think that Trump could actually win this, so they better get with him so that their stuff can get done. Cruz will go in there and set the agenda. He'll set the agenda and say, listen, it won't be the Democrats who will shut down the government. It'll be the damn Republicans.
All right, so look, we're going to take another quick break. When we come back, I want to expand this a little bit more on what will it be like on the Upper East Coast with a Donald Trump president. So look, stick with us. Right after the break, we'll dig into this. And you're listening to the Battlefield Live radio program with Chris and Trey from We Are America Radio, Red State Talk Radio, Lanterns.buzz, Battlefield.buzz, and the Buzz Radio Network. We'll be right back. You are listening to the Battlefield Live radio program with Chris and Trey from Lanterns.buzz and Battlefield.buzz. Follow us on Twitter at LanternsBuzz and Facebook at LanternsBuzz. You will be pleasantly surprised. We are here to fix the machine. So check this one out. This is Carly Fiorina. Check this out.
At first, I was not for it. I mean, I thought, I'm a traditionalist. I'm older than most people in the audience, you know. I mean, I kind of like tradition. And, you know, it's always been a man and a woman. And
Wait, I thought you said you were playing a Carly Fiorina
That is
clip.
Well, it looks like Carly.
Wait, hold on. That I recognize that voice, and that voice sounds like the conservative transgender.
It is very hard to run the show and be the show.
Because you've got to pay attention.
I missed the clip. I'm sorry.
You have to pay attention.
Right,
you cannot be playing Caitlyn Jenner clips and thinking that it's Carly Fiorina.
It's Bruce Jenner, not Caitlyn Jenner. Go to radio.battlefield.buzz to get showtimes, the latest audio and video podcast, links to our affiliates and social media sites, and latest announcements from the Battlefield Live radio program. We are here to fix the machine.
Hello, I'm Mayfa, a student at Hillsdale College. Here is Hillsdale President Larry Arnn on Congress granting itself legal exemptions.
In 1788, as the Constitution was being debated, James Madison wrote that the chief restraint preventing Congress from passing laws that apply to us but not to Congress is, quote, the vigilant and manly spirit which actuates the people of America, a spirit which nourishes freedom. If this spirit shall ever diminish so as to tolerate a law not obligatory on the legislature, the people will be prepared to tolerate anything but liberty. Today we Americans live under many laws that do not apply to elected officials and those who work for them. If we hope to preserve liberty, we must recultivate the freedom-loving spirit of our fathers.
This Constitution Minute was brought to you by Hillsdale College. To join the national conversation on the Constitution, go to constitutionminute.com.
So let's put a wall on our southern border. And not to keep out Mexicans. I'm more interested in keeping out jihadis. I'm more interested in keeping out ISIS, which, oh, by the way, the religion of peace this week is responsible worldwide for 50 jihad attacks, 11 Allah Akbars, 564 dead bodies, and 896 people critically injured. That's your weekly jihad report.
Dude,
religion of peace.
You can actually pick up an Allah Akbar at the local 7-Eleven. And if you listen to Joe Biden, well, I won't go there.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. I'm not joking.
Go to radio.battlefield.buzz to get showtimes, the latest audio and video podcast, links to our affiliates and social media sites, and latest announcements from the Battlefield Live radio program. We are here to fix the machine.
We're here to fix the machine.
Thank you for sticking with us on the battlefield. You're listening to Chris and Trey on We Are America Radio, Red State Talk Radio, and Buzz Radio Network. So, Trey, what I wanted to talk about was I wanted to kind of paint this picture. So basically, what we have is a bunch of politicians in Washington D.C. that's looking at this race, and they're trying to figure out who is the best candidate in order to get their agenda done. And their agenda is a wide-ranging agenda, right? You have some conservatives in there, you have some radical liberals in there, and you have a bunch in between. So let's look at somebody like, say, an Orrin Hatch or, a Chuck Schumer, one of the premier, I would almost say progressive. And Orrin Hatch, he dabbles in progressivism. But to me, the biggest issue is that all of these people have constituencies, businesses, and so forth that they cater to in their states. So when they're looking at Donald Trump, they see a guy that's flexible, that's willing to make deals, that's somebody that they could possibly work with in order to be able to bring more bacon home to the state, right? So the bottom line is I think what's happening here is your establishment, as well as many other politicians, are that are maybe not aligned with Ted Cruz, say, or Rand Paul. They're seeing a flexible, very empty slate or a blank canvas in Donald Trump, and they see an opportunity, And they don't see those opportunities with a Ted Cruz or a Rand Paul because they are pretty principled, and they've defined what their policies are going to be. And in many cases, the establishment, they don't want a closed border; they want an open border, and they know that Ted Cruz is going to hold himself to that. But Donald Trump is wishy-washy on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, Ted Cruz said on Sean Hannity's show, he said, a lot of the establishment had been behind Marco Rubio. We saw them kind of leave from Bush and kind of get behind Rubio. But, dude, Rubio's attack on Cruz, his numbers have plummeted.
That's right. That's right.
And he said we're seeing more and more, and it's kind of curious that Donald is now beginning to boast about how the big establishment players are getting behind him. This is what Trump said in Las Vegas today at a campaign rally. He said that Cruz is slimy, he's unpopular in the Senate, and he said, well, but with me, he said we'll be able to get things done. He said, I can tell you, quote, they like me, those guys, and there's nothing wrong with that, folks. We've got to make deals. We don't want to sign executive orders. We want to make good deals. And so this is the people you're going to hear, the current batch of congressmen and women, and these people are going to come out that you're going to see them throw in for Trump because they know that they're going to be able to do something. But constitutionally, Cruz will hold them to doing what they're supposed to do, which is their freaking job. Send me a budget that funds things we should fund and doesn't fund the crap we shouldn't fund. Let's move toward balancing the budget. Let's cut the deficit. Let's do the things that we're supposed to do. Whereas Trump's just gonna, hey, whatever you guys want, you helped me get in here. He's gonna be beholden to the Republican. Now listen, because the president sets the agenda, but his agenda is gonna be given to him by the current batch of Republicans. This is why they passed a $1.1 trillion spending bill on Boehner's way out. This is why and then Ryan's talking now like a conservative, like the $1.1 trillion bill didn't happen, like we're stupid or something.
Well, yeah. Well, his case was that it was already pretty much done, and there's nothing he could have done. It was too late in the game. You know, it was like in the second, the sudden death, if you will, of that particular bill, and they had to let it push through.
I have no idea what you just said.
Was I mumbling?
No, it's not you're mumbling. It's just, I mean, the connection sounds like I'm talking to you from Puerto Rico or something.
I'm speaking to you on a cup phone?
I think you're on an El Chapo tunnel phone or something.
Oh, we're on Morse code.
I think El Chapo had better.
Just look at me, and I'm going to do sign languages, and you can interpret. Can you read lips?
I can't even see your lips.
It's because it's covered up by my fat cheeks.
I'm flying blind here. You're like Max Headroom, and you kind of sound like Max Headroom to me right now.
Oh man, we down here in Louisiana. We had this storm that just came through, and it just disrupted all kind of things. My internet's been running kind of slow anyway, so we're having some connection issues. So y'all bear with us. So Trey, one of the things that I was really interested in digging into is the article that you talked about earlier. All these conservatives that are making a case against Trump, and it's amazing to me because in some part it's the National Review, what's the other? Come on, tell me. The other publication, the mainstream conservative publication, not Heritage. Which is the other one?
National Review?
It's National Review, and there's another one. The Weekly Standard. They've been coming out against Trump forever. And it's like now it seems like everybody's kind of switching back. It's like we've had our fun with Trump, and they've been kind of holding the line. And it's usually they're not the ones that hold the line very well. So I find that's very interesting that, the Bill Kristols
the Weekly Standard?
Yes, Weekly Standard. The Bill Kristols.
Well, that's Bill Kristol and Fred Barnes.
That's right. And I just find it very interesting that they have become the singularity in the conservative movement once again, which is kind of weird.
That is kind of an interesting phenomenon, but the Weekly Standard, I mean, look, Bill Kristol's father was no doubt a conservative.
Right.
So, little Billy Kristol had become very establishment.
Right.
And he may have gone against Trump initially because remember, Bill Kristol was the same guy who said that the Arab Spring would never happen.
That's right.
So we clowned him for a good time on all the things that Bill Kristol said would not happen. So
maybe he's crappy on foreign policy.
Another one. He probably thought that Trump was actually going to be anti-establishment. So his bad on coming out and, coming against Trump. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bill Kristol, just to keep his the little bit of credibility he has left, has to continue to ride this anti-Trump thing out.
Hey, do you think it was kind of like luck? Like, in other words, he was like, Donald Trump was running as an anti-establishment candidate, and Bill Kristol didn't like it. Now, the establishment is coming out to support him, but he's still holding his position, right? He's still anti-Trump, and I think he's anti-Trump now because he has to be. He probably would change. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, no, I agree.
Like, I'm telling you that this is a phenomenal. If you're a politics junkie like I am, to watch what's taking place with Donald Trump is an absolute unbelievable phenomenon. It kind of reminds me of what Bill Clinton did in his first term, how he was liberal, really, really liberal, and then when Hillary Care came out, it was very unpopular, and he sunk in the polls, and he actually drifted to Newt Gingrich and agreed to a budget that Newt Gingrich had taken into place because the Republicans took over Congress at the time. And it was just like this huge swing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and also, too, the point you're making makes me kind of think about something else, that we need to elect a president that's actually going to be a check on an out-of-control Congress. Now, you think about that for a second. Nobody talks about that. Everybody talks about electing a Congress to put into check an out-of-control executive or an out-of-control president.
Right.
But we're beyond that now. The Republicans that we sent to office, and make no doubt about it, Chris, we sent them to office to stop the agenda of Barack Obama, not hasten it.
Right.
So now this is officially an out-of-control Congress, and we need to put a president in the White House that can put a check, that can undo all of Barack Obama's executive orders, and that can set the agenda and put a check on Congress. And if the president shuts the government down and makes the Republican Congress lose power and swing, you're going to be happy that you have a conservative in office when the Democrats take back the Congress.
But isn't it amazing how much the winds in Washington, D.C. change? I mean, just 2 years ago, we were wanting a Congress to put the president in check, and now we want a president to put the Congress in check?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that like, to me, it's evident on how bad Washington, D.C. is. And when I hear somebody like a Ted Cruz talk about how corrupt Washington, D.C. is, and the establishment's getting pissed off, to me, it's a great thing.
We didn't.
Why would anybody, even a Democrat, not appreciate that?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what we didn't take into consideration? We didn't take into consideration that after the second midterm, the midterm of Barack Obama's second term, I know I didn't, so I'll speak for myself. But I think a lot of grassroots folks like us, we didn't take into consideration that the running or being a politician in Congress that's opposing Barack Obama wasn't going to be something that was going to get them reelected.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it was going to no longer, with only 2 years left to go in Barack's presidency, there was nothing that they could go, oh, you got to put me in there because another 4 more years of Barack Obama and it's going to be horrible. So they didn't have to oppose him anymore. in the last 2 years of his term.
All right. Well, I want to thank you for joining us on the program today. This is Chris and Trey from the Battlefield Live radio program, and it's been a joy. We'll be back.